Hello, everyone. Many quality of life indexes can be deemed, in my opinion, as a similar superficial measure of development as the GDP growth rate. Many of those indexes use arbitrarily chosen artifacts or circumstances to measure what is believed by their respective authors to be an indicator of well-being. For example, the quantity of hospital beds or physicians per capita or the access of potable water are, among others, such indicators we usually find in these indexes. Yet, it is questionable if a high number of physicians per capita really means that we live healthier. Or does it even mean that we're a sick society if we have many physicians per capita? If we live, as still many people do in South America, self-sufficiently in the mountain countryside with fresh air, little stress, at least compared to living in big cities, and consuming small-scale farming products, organic food, we will probably get less ill and need less medical care as living in modern metropolis. We also do not necessarily need potable water if we have a spring or a clean cascade coming from the glaciers next to our house, providing us with the purest water one can imagine. Well, here, in my presentation, I will present an alternative to measure welfare, an alternative that does not count things or circumstances, but measures the subjective perception of the satisfaction of fundamental human needs. This index I will call the Human Scale Development Index, because it is based on this human scale development approach of my dear colleague, Manfred Max-Neef, dear ex-colleague, because he already passed away. Well, what is the difference between development and growth? Manfred Max-Neef used to answer this question in the following way. Development is qualitative and it is about people. While on the other hand, growth, for example, GDP growth, is quantitative. It is about counting things. And Manfred Max-Neef, together with his colleagues, Antonio Eliselde and Martin Hoppenheim, developed in their book or in their theory, which they call the Human Scale Development Approach, this matrix of fundamental human needs. We find here 9 existential fundamental human needs in 4 dimensions: being, having, doing, and interacting. According to the theory of human scale development, all these 9 fundamental human needs are the same for all people around the world, in all cultures, and even in all historical times. What changes, according to the authors, is the form, how we satisfy or fulfill these fundamental human needs. This can vary through cultures, through different time periods, or even from one person to another. So what we have here in each cell of this matrix are the satisfier or destroyers of the fundamental human needs in each of the 4 dimensions. And these satisfiers can change from one person to another. But according to the theory, the needs themselves are the same for all people in the world. So this is a unique form to define development. Development is not depending here on some circumstances or the existence of artifacts, material things, but it is defined in terms of the satisfaction or fulfillment of fundamental human needs. So why don't destruct or construct an index based on this idea? We could define an index that measures the subjective perception of how our fundamental human needs are satisfied. And this is what the index is about. We have 36 cells, and we could assign a number in each of the cells. A number, for example, from -10 to +10, depending on how satisfied we are. It has a negative possibility for a negative number because we could even be negative satisfied. Because in some cases, we find situations that destroy even the need. It's not only not satisfied, it's negatively satisfied. And in the end, we will have in each cell a number and can so count the subjective perception of the fulfillment of the fundamental human needs and build an average of the satisfaction we find in each cell. We also put here a ponderation factor, since we could discuss that some cells in this matrix might be more important than others, for example, subsistence. On the other way around, maybe we could also put this ponderation factor as 1. So in each cell, so there would be no ponderation. This would probably getting most or the nearer to what Manfred Max-Neef et al. Believe, because they said that all needs are equally important. But, well, we could discuss this. And because some people would say maybe some needs are more important, so here's the possibility to put this ponderation factor. So to sum it up, the Human Scale Development Index, which is based on the Human Scale Development approach from Manfred Max-Neef et al., quantifies the subjective perception of the fulfillment of fundamental human needs. It is an index which is at the same time quantitative and qualitative. It quantifies the qualitative perception of the satisfaction or fulfillment of fundamental human needs. We have already tried to apply this index. We found some shortcomings and some difficulties to apply it, and I will be happy to discuss these problems in the conference. So see you there. Goodbye.